Seville, Spain has a General Archive of the Indies. Volume 3 is sometimes also listed as a general collection of documents relating to the Philippine Islands. That's what we're going to be discussing. You only find a few online sources of it, but they're in reasonably clean black and white images that can be run through an OCR, and other people have done this. Next, document number 98, also subtext as 1519 to 1522, listed a section as page 112 through 138, which is not actually what its page number is there, but it's a local file. This is copies of various documents and excerpts from books and that sort of thing. And it lists navigation and pathway from one place to another. This navigation, if you actually plot it out, shows it to be a trade route for trade ships. They would go on basically a big long milk run, go out, find stuff, and come back. And unless you assume that they were just going and not stopping, it might be on paper a 2-month pathway, but it went on for a lot longer than that. And this one is listed as going from the Cape of Good Hope, Southern Africa, to India, to Burma, then Sumatra, then Maluku Islands, then Borneo, and then to Sulu, and then on to China. And then from there on to another location. Okay, now, from 1457 to 1578, the Sulu sultanate, as it was understood, was a Bruneian vassal. I'm assuming it's just a subsection of Brunei, but I don't know. I'm not claiming anything other than ignorance here. We're just starting with the basics here. Again, now the Sulu Islands are a region and or part of the Philippines itself. So we could simplify this if we wanted to and say that you went from the Cape of Good Hope very likely along the coastline. It could be an open ocean, but there's not really any reason to, but anyway, it goes to India, then Burma, Sumatra, Maluku Islands, Borneo, and then to the Philippines, and then goes past the Philippines to what was then China. Now, that time period puts that in a particular dynasty. So we go on. The port of Ophir is what is being referred to, and it was just a port. It's where you got things. It's not something that freaking important. No, it really isn't. It is a port, or you could say a city at the time. Things got kind of fluid in the past, just like they are now, but let's go on. The port of Ophir is said to be, quote, in front of China and towards the sea, which would indicate, if you were just parsing that this is a seaport rather than a river or inlet port. And it was facing towards the sea, not some other thing. And it was, quote, in front of China is very vague, but let's go on. One of many islands where 3 groups of individuals met to trade with each other. The Chinese, Moluccans, and Lequios. I'm pronouncing these badly. It doesn't matter. The point is, it was a port. It existed. This is a claim that's found a couple of places. It's not mythological. Right? All right, let's move on. We now use the more recent names. Myanmar, then we're going to go to Sumatra, then Maluku Islands, as we have them listed. Back across the map again over to Borneo, then to Sulu. Then onto the area that was Ming dynasty China's main port set. But it's just towards China. This works out to 24,000 kilometers or 15,000 miles as a journey, if it's along the coastline, which is the most likely thing if you're just doing, a milk run along the coastlines. Now, typical 14th century trade ships, you're not allowed to use specific years like 13 something something, because people love using the word century. 14th century trade ships, what were the maximum speeds they could go? 11 miles per hour, or 10 knots, or 18 kilometers per hour. And if you had a 2-masted squared-sailed vessel of some kind other than standard trade ships, it could go to 11 knots max. That works out to 57 days or 2 months without stopping, obviously about 2 months minimum. That's for going through really quickly. The idea is you would go to a port, trade at the port with the stuff you had aboard that belonged to you. It's not a shipping thing where you're paid to ship things necessarily from point A to point B. You had ownership of it in some cases, or all cases, depending on which, who was the shipmaster or whatever. Okay? And you would trade things as you went and trade up. And also act as a shipping system. You'd be paid to ship something, not for its value, but for the concept of it being transported. Now, we also have references of a similar time period of Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, citing directions to a golden island in the eastern ocean, also as an island to the south of China, and it was referred to as Chrysee, Chryse, I'm going to call it. Now we also have another reference that's really old, let's say, 700 BC, okay, notation saying 2 or 4 Beth Huron, 30 shekels, listed also as gold of Ophir. And that doesn't necessarily mean it was gold from Ophir. That just means it's gold of Ophir. That's like, Eye of Newt or whatever, Newt Gingrich. Gold of Ophir meant gold of pure quality, or it meant something else. It could have also meant gold from Ophir. This does not mean that Ophir is a port lined with gold bars everywhere or whatever. That's not what it meant. It is a shipping port. And you can look up in various old writings, specifically the Bible is where most people look this up from, where it's mentioned as being a place that trade was done with. You can look up the references to it, but again, the original Aramaic, Koine Greek, and Hebrew isn't what you're reading in a modern interpretation in a Bible you found at a motel. Acknowledge this and move on. Now let's move on with this. Filipino politicians, during a few years, decided to suggest or claim that their country, the Philippines, should be called Ophir. This was a propaganda maneuver, and various parties would make these claims. And other parties would immediately counter this, because they have to as a knee-jerk reaction, that this idea is inappropriate or whatever. And I'm not involved in that. Now, how did I get involved in this? Again, I'm going to reiterate what really happened. An incident happened in the United States, and it was mentioned at one time that somebody involved in that incident was from the Philippines. And I got a bunch of hate comments because I literally mentioned the Philippines. The joke on the internet at the time is, mentions Philippines, immediately gets a bomb threat. This was absolutely something that happened because people were being very, very oversensitive about the Philippines. If you're not aware of it, the Philippines is currently named that because it's named after somebody who conquered it. Yeah, that's bad. So they should change their name, obviously. Change it to whatever you want to. I don't care. It's not my problem. The point is, I made videos about something completely unrelated to your fucking country. Yes, I'm saying it that way. Post below how you're totally not guilty of a bomb threat. Okay, now being serious. That is what opened the door to people bringing up that they are the chosen ones because the Philippines is Ophir. Now let's review. Part of the instructions to get into Ophir was to go past what is currently part of the Philippines and go north towards China, towards Ophir. So that means by we're done. The Philippines isn't Ophir. That's it. And that's a statement I made rather offhandedly, but I also then looked up what they were talking about. And they were referring to, again, the primary one that was being referred to by a specific YouTube channel was Seville, Spain's General Archive of the Indies and all of this other stuff. And that's kind of the problem. When they would quote what I just gave you, they wouldn't read that pathway. They would just cite it, hand wave it, and refuse to acknowledge that it pointed to something north and to the east of the Philippines. And then claim it couldn't be Taiwan. The direct quote that people have when you actually read it out is that it's a port that was one of many on one of many islands where 3 groups of people met to trade, including the Chinese. It also listed groups that were from the Philippines or not, depending on how you look it up. So A YouTube channel called The God Culture, which was heavily into the propaganda of the day, trying to claim that the Philippines is where all the gold comes from, and making a bunch of other assertions. I'm not covering those others, but it was people going insane in the comment section. The God Culture channel promoted this and promoted hyper-nationalistic history revision bullshit like this. They have currently 167,000 subscribers, under 700 videos, 21 million views, and started in 2017. That channel made a 82-minute long 2019 video that referenced my work and had copies of some of my videos in it at the 55-second mark out of an 82-minute video, where they spent the entire 55 minutes approximately prefacing how they're right and I'm wrong about some damn thing, and did not include links to the videos that they were citing, and also said I'm a Gnostic. Okay, so here's the part of the video that's this statement. Have I ever really said I believe or know with certainty no God exists? Or have I stated that the way religions promote this prove that they don't have the ability to or the desire to prove their claim that a God exists? That's totally different statements. Am I really a religious or philosophical Gnostic? Okay, and why would they do that? If you make a statement that sounds technical or academic about somebody that's completely inaccurate, the first thing they're going to do is what I just did. State that that's not correct. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just not accurate. The next thing is, that's a dog whistle to a population that's using hyper-nationalism and religious belief and maybe bigotry to promote themselves. That's a dog whistle to go after somebody, maybe. I don't know. So, the person who put up the video, 82-minute long, that's supposed to be about me. I mean, I don't think I'm much of it. I'm only the two videos they claim they're talking about would take up 30 minutes, so I don't think I'm really responsible for 82 minutes of this. Recently, an ignorant agnostic, or Gnostic, excuse me, put up two extremely poor videos. He couldn't even finish one whole video of ours. He makes not one point. Then later they claim they knocked down all my points. I didn't make any. It's quite hilarious. If only he would have watched even all of one video we put up before ignorantly spouting off two pathetic videos. All I did was cover the claim that you had a citation that went somewhere that said something, but you're saying the exact opposite of what it says. It says go past the Philippines to get to Ophir. Sorry, but you're done. Next. We are happy to respond and put him in his place. But you didn't send me a message saying you posted the video, so you didn't want me to review it. You will hear our response in full. We use this as an opportunity to further clarify some stuff. We wouldn't normally even pay attention. This is an attack on us personally. Okay. We want our viewers to see this response video, but not the person you're responding to or calling out. At least they avoided using my channel name or any links to the videos so nobody can double check whether or not they got it right. No one has proven the conclusions of their series wrong in 2 years. Neither of you proven it right. And again, my video simply proved that you were using a source that did not say the thing you claimed it said. We actually draw no conclusions as to where Ophir is. Bullshit. You obviously promote it because you're being nationalistic. We go deeper into research. We later prove it. Again, basically, yeah, you did. I came along after you'd already come to that conclusion. And the conclusion you came to is, again, based on one of many things that I debunked. But you haven't addressed whether or not that literally says that. You guys are the ones that speak a language that's more similar to the one that was authored. Do a video explaining how that absolutely points to the Philippines, even though the mapping of it points another place. I'll include a link below as an imager to the path redone recently, just because I felt like doing it. But yeah, I don't think I should be listed as a Gnostic. I don't think that applies to me properly. And as for the rest of it, again, you've never actually responded to anything that I said. And I don't care if your video is supposed to do that response. You don't just spell it out. Put up a text file. Make it easier for us. We don't need to sit through a video and give you page views. And if you're going to use my video, you should include a link. And by the way, you guys are the ones who flagged the video off the net probably, right? I don't even know if the videos are up, but seriously. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And thanks for the commentary. And thanks for never telling me about this back in 2019. I guess you didn't want me reviewing it at all. Bye.